Welcome to the DLLS Rangers Weekly Podcast, now part of the All City Network. Hit the subscribe button for YouTube and also become a DLLS diehard at www.alldlls.com. Now here's Jeff and John. Hey everybody, welcome to the DLLS Rangers Weekly Podcast. This is episode number 29, and today Kohl Drake, who was part of a no-hitter, the other night is. I know we just had him on not too long. It's been a couple months ago, I think. Back
it was in the off season.
In the off season, but hey, when you're part of a no hitter, you get them back.
That's right. We make rules for
for good things. We'll talk about that for sure, and catch up with Kohl, who's having a great season. We'll talk about some of his stats too when he gets on here. Hey, this is brought to you by the Round Rock Express, who always partner up with the weekly show. And so we got a shout out to Round Rock. We're going to get into Round Rock in a little bit later on in the minor league segment when we go down in the bus leagues and talk about that. But we're catching up on stuff. We're going to talk all things big league. Hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the like button. Go over to the DLLS YouTube channel also and hit the subscribe button. There, you guys are up over 20,000 now, right? Subscribers.
Like 23,000 on the YouTube channel.
23,000. It was 20 last time I looked. We are like just a few away from 3,000 here.
Yeah, let's get to three.
Let's get to 3 here. So tell your friends. It's free. You hit it for free. It keeps us going. That's how this thing earns a little bit. I wanted to ask you this. I saw this on the weekly show. Look, we have to talk normal stuff too. By the way, my oldest son's home from college. He got home last night.
Oh,
so he's here for a couple weeks and he's going back. But let me ask you, if Jennifer one of those people? The funny story about the mouse.
Oh man.
So I've got a great story about something like that too. But I want to know, is Jennifer the person that if there is a bug, do you have to get it?
Oh yeah.
She doesn't.
Anything that's not a dog,
okay,
or common domestic pet, she wants nothing to do with.
Nothing to. Okay, so she's like Kathy. Kathy, like she'll say the biggest spider in the world is in here, and I'll go in and it'll be a little bitty bug crawling. Right. I mean, it is the most unreal thing. But your mouse story, dogs are great. Yeah. So did y'all ever figure out which?
Oh, it's Lily. It's our smallest and oldest dog. She's a killer. She'll we found her stray. We think she grew up on the streets, and so
she's got street smarts.
We've seen her kill a rabbit. We witnessed it.
Was it a baby?
No, it was a pretty good sized rabbit, and she got a mouse last year, and like dug around for it and got it and pulled it out, and shook it, and then so the other morning I was just. I was laying in bed, kind of a slow morning, and brushing my teeth, and she started screaming. And I thought, God dang it, what the hell
is going on?
Did one of the kids not wake up? I mean, it was that level of scream.
Yeah.
Like, God dang it. She walks in, there's something to say. Somebody brought in a mouse. I was like, well, yeah, it wasn't me.
I was in bed.
So, she made me get it, and then it was a fresh kill because there was a blood spot.
Okay.
He did clean up the blood. So
that is so funny because I've got.
Yeah. So it was it woke me up, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you're awake. You don't even need coffee, which you don't even drink coffee anyway. It cracks me up because
right now.
Yeah. Wait, there you go. You do have it. My dogs have brought in critters and done all that, but the greatest critter story I've ever had is why it brought me back to it immediately. And Kathy immediately, when I was telling her about it, she goes, well, remember mine. One day I'm in the living room and it's afternoon and I think she had mowed. So she was taking a shower. I don't know what had happened, but it was like early afternoon. She's taking a shower. She gets out of the shower and she goes in, and we have one of those walk-in closets where you can walk in, and we each have a door, but they meet in the middle back there. It's not that big, but we can each go in our side. She starts screaming, and I'm thinking I'm hearing what she's saying. If I'm hearing this right, when she is saying, get in here, there's a lobster. And I'm like, so I stepped into our bathroom. We have a downstairs. Everything's upstairs. But we have a downstairs bathroom. I go, what did you say? And she goes, get in here. There's a lobster in here and it's alive. And I went, did you say a lobster? And she goes, a lobster, get in here. And I walk into our bedroom. I look around the corner. I can't see her. She is in our closet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what in the F is she talking about? And I go walking over, And I look around the corner. She's got a towel. She's naked. She's got the towel up. She goes, look, look, look. There was a crawfish.
Ah.
And one of our little old dog that's now dead had, I guess we have a creek, but I'm telling you from here, you know where we are in the office here. The creek would be across the street where that sign place down there is. Or so I don't know how it somehow got in our yard.
Yeah.
I don't know how it got there, but Maxie, our little dog, but she was screaming lobster, and it was alive doing this. It had the pinchers up. It had her trapped. So he had all the leverage. He had full control. But you said the mouse, and I immediately, she said that, and I was like, oh God, I forgot about that. We have domestic fun, don't we? With the dogs, with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I somehow wonder how these things get in, like the mice, like our neighbors to the east don't mow their backyard.
Okay. Well, that's
a jungle.
It's a field mouse.
And then the neighbors to the west, who are real nice people, they have a shed, and I don't know that they tend to the area around the shed.
Sure.
But like, do birds pick up a crawfish and like it wiggles away or something?
Could be. That's all I could think is that's I didn't even think of that. We have squirrels that get up in the trees, but I mean, we're talking, you would have to cross the street, go down the hill to the creek. We have a pool, but this was before we ever had a pool.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the hell it got in. So it was obviously in the yard. Somehow it got up to the yard. Like you said, maybe it was a bird.
Yeah. We've had a frog in our pool. I saw a mouse in our pool one day just swimming his ass off.
Yeah. You have to scoop him out.
I saved him. I think I threw him over the fence.
Yeah. With the little net.
It was gentle. It was a gentle throw. But yeah. So
well, I'll tell you the worst of all of them though, and my dogs didn't kill it. But we have a big dog door that they run in and out of the backyard. And my dog walked in one day, and right before he hit the door, I went, and I said,
no.
I think we have a skunk. About the time I said skunk, he came in the door and he had been sprayed.
Oh, geez.
It was 11:30 at night. Nothing was open. We were told to take vinegar and boil it. And let me tell you why they tell you to boil vinegar. It's because it stinks so bad, you'll maybe think you're only smelling vinegar and you're not. It took a week before my house smelled anything close to normal again. It is the worst thing ever. I put everything in the world out. Anyway, we're talking baseball, guys. We get into our domestic bliss and talk about that, but we're going to talk baseball here because some things that have happened, especially since now you and John have talked about this, and that's how I got the mouse story anyway, listening to y'all talk about it. Our friend that we liked a lot got let go, Donnie Eckert.
Yeah.
And that was the move. Look, it was not all Donnie's fault, period. I don't care what anyone says.
Right.
But you know what? In a situation like this, hats off to Chris Young. He's like, we're rocking the boat. We're doing something here.
Yeah. I think if the Rangers had had a decent offensive season last year, that the move would not have been made. But it's got to be some of there's got to be some carryover. Some things didn't change. And Donnie, had been serving as the bench coach, and then they took those duties away from him. They let him bring in his own guy as the hitting coach, Justin Veely, and it just obviously wasn't working. And now look, I've kind of made a deal about like these guys who have their own hitting coaches, and it's pretty standard in the game now. So you still have to communicate with those guys. And it sounds like Donnie or Justin was doing that, but it's still like Adolis Garcia. This is the first year he's had his own hitting coach. It's like, well, who's he listening to?
Yeah.
John
Corey has his own.
Right. But there was a good relationship between Donnie and Corey's guy. A lot of these guys do. You'd be surprised. Unfortunately, some of the ones who are struggling the most have their own hitting coach. So you wonder what's not working there. So anyway, it's changed, but so they hire Bret Boone, who was basically doing a podcast.
Yeah.
A pretty good podcast. Very, when we were with Odyssey, it was
Yeah.
always one of the top Odyssey
Sure.
shows of all of their
Yeah, I
sports.
remember it, and he's funny. I mean, I've seen some of the shows or
Yeah.
highlights of it, clips of it. You see a lot of that, and when you're doing baseball coverage, that's some of the stuff you'll go watch. Like the Ken Rosenthal does that one, that Fair Territory or something like that. That's fun to kind of hit sometimes. I don't hit it all the time, but I mean, when you're a podcast guy, you listen to podcasts. I do.
Yeah,
You're busy because you're full-time gigs writing all the time, but when I'm trying to do work, I can listen to stuff. But yeah, I like Boone's podcast. It sounds like he's going to get to keep it in a sense and do it. But he used to go on a bunch of different shows, and now he's only going to go on.
He's going to be scaling back.
Right. He's only going to go on. He went on with the local radio station that has the Rangers. The Fan. He used to do a weekly thing or a bi-weekly thing. He said he still do that. Chris Young thought it was a good idea and said he doesn't care. He likes the show and he's been on it. And
Chris also said so instead of an hour podcast, maybe Bret just appears for a few minutes.
Sure.
I don't know how it's going to work out, but
Bret said something about getting a guest host like Johnny Carson used to do to help host his show. But it sounds like we haven't met him yet. You didn't go on the last road trip. No. They'll be back in town Monday. I'm excited to meet him. I was a Bret Boone fan. He killed the Rangers at a time when he was with Seattle. Yeah. It's fun. Have you seen the story though? That was pretty funny. Did you see the story? John Morosi when he was. That was. If y'all don't know this story, it was funny. So Boone had told his brother that he was getting this gig, and so when his brother was talking to Morosi before the Ranger game, he just out of the blue, he's the Yankee manager. He just kind of goes, "You heard anything about Texas hitting coach?" And Morosi's like, "Wow, that's wild, isn't it?" And all of that, and then like the news breaks an hour into the game, and he's like texting him. He's like, "That's why he was laughing about it." I guess.
Yeah, no, these guys can keep secrets for a while. Some of them can.
Yeah. Well, you had to tell your brother. You had to tell Aaron about it.
But anyway, so Bret Boone has never been a coach.
No.
But his dad was a big league manager. His brother's a big league manager. Grandfather played.
Yep.
So it's a three generations of Boones in the major leagues, and so he's around the game. He knows it. He knows it's changed since when he played.
Right.
And he's not going to be a big analytics guy. He's not going to be fixing swings. He's not a swing doctor. I think he's a communicator, psychologist, a guy who can look at an opposing pitcher and find his weaknesses and maybe help with the game plan, help with mid-game adjustments.
Sure.
Which is necessary.
He said something. Yeah, he said something interesting the other day. I saw. He said, "When I go into a pitcher coming in, I'm going to act like I'm in the game that night. What would I be looking to do?"
Yeah.
Sure. And no offense to Donnie, but Donnie didn't play big league ball like this, like Bret Boone did. So, and I like Donnie a lot, but I remember he said something like that, which was intriguing. It's like, if you look at it like, okay, what would I be doing?
Yeah.
This is what I'd be looking for to exploit. That's what he can bring to it.
Yeah. And, he was really good. He was 3-time All-Star, a couple Silver Sluggers. He's on that really, really good Mariners team. That team that had Edgar Martinez, Ken Griffey, and won 118 games or whatever.
Yeah.
116. Bret Boone led that team in RBIs.
Yeah.
141.
He was good.
Oh, Ichiro. A guy named Ichiro. That was his rookie year.
Well, who's that?
Exactly. So he can play.
Looks like Scott Stapp.
But he needs to come in and get these guys' heads right.
Yeah.
That's what Chris Young was saying. It's not so much a approach, a swing thing. It's a approach, a confidence.
Right.
Get these guys believing in themselves. And, you got some guys who could really use it right now. Marcus Semien could really use it.
Man.
And it looks like Jock Peterson is trending the right way.
Yeah. And I noticed it before Jock really he had a good series. But before he really had that, you started to notice the ball was coming off his bat a lot harder.
Yeah.
Like he was starting to square some things. And when you see him square some things, you're starting to think, okay, now it's just got to fall. Yeah. He's really starting to barrel it. Because there was some times when he wasn't even barreling anything. Everything was a soft ground out or a pop out or whatever.
Right.
But then he had some loud outs.
Yeah.
And then, so go ahead.
And then, I think another difference, is Corey Seager is in the lineup too. And
boy,
the guy is so good. If you look, okay, so he comes back Saturday. They lose 2-1, but he stings a couple balls.
Yep.
Including in the 8th inning where you thought he had a double in the gap, and Julio Rodriguez ran it down. Corey hit the ball 112 miles an hour, and it was an out. Next day, he gets the breakthrough hit, I guess, if you will, the 2-run single that started that 6-run inning. Then they'd have the day off, go to Boston, have a nice game. He has a ground rule double to start their big inning.
Right.
And then the next day he's in the lineup again, and they score 4 times. He puts a charge into one in the 9th inning.
I thought it was gone.
Yeah, that maybe you think is the game tying homer. The offense is just so much better when he's in there, so he's making a big difference. Now Bret Boone's not going to make a difference for a couple weeks. He said he's in observation mode, but again, he's going to get to know these guys and try to pump them up.
Yeah,
I mean, just that sounds kind of silly, but that these big leaguers need to be pumped up. But
I'm sorry, guys, I've got allergies.
A couple of them absolutely do. So, and I wish that he would have had a chance to work with Leody Taveras.
Yeah,
Leody was put on.
That was the other. Yeah, that was the other.
Same day as Donnie, and he
lands in Seattle. They took his salary.
Seattle took his salary. So I mean,
they had an injury though.
It ends up working out, but you hate it because I love Leody.
I did too.
He's a good kid.
Your story about driving the car, I was with you when you said something to him. That was when we were in spring training.
But I've just known him for years and years. I remember before the pandemic, he had gotten called up to Frisco in 19, and his English was okay, but not great. But I still wanted to go talk to him, and he wanted to do the interview in English, and we had a couple issues, but between my terrible Spanish, we were able to get through it. And just ever since then, he and I are very friendly, and I look forward to seeing him. And he had a big hit in his first game there. So
game tying grounder.
One of those deals where maybe it's a fresh start thing, but well, he's a guy who I think could have benefited from a different hitting coach.
Let's be clear. Let's be totally clear too. When we came into this offseason, Leody Taveras was not penciled in as the starting everyday center fielder. Right. He just wasn't. It was going to be you're going to have Langford, Carter, and Adolis, basically, with Jock Peterson being the other guy that might get some time out there. Yeah. Leody was going to be kind of the fourth outfield, fill in, late defensive, do that. And he got pressed into action. And you know what? He can be a serviceable everyday center fielder to some point, but everybody looks at a struggling offense and somehow he's the villain in a lot of it. I mean, they get mad at other guys, but he's the one guy that's expendable, I guess, out of that group of guys. And I love Leody. In fact, I had just talked to him the day before, and we were sitting there talking about his kids. And I was like, how old is your youngest one? And he kept saying, he goes, I got 2, one's 7. And he said, one is 6 months and one's a year. Hey, you know what, guys? We're going to stop real quick because we've got a guest joining us right now. We come back right after this. Kohl Drake is going to join us, left-handed pitcher for the Frisco Rough Riders, right after this. All right, guys, and joining us right now is Frisco Rough Rider left-handed pitcher Kohl Drake, who was part of something pretty cool the other night. You were 6 innings of a no-hitter that the Rough Riders threw the other night. What's going on, man?
Not much, just hanging out in San Antonio right now.
How have they upgraded that ballpark? Because now Nolan Ryan's group owns a piece of it.
Right.
And I'm guessing maybe you've heard some stories about how it used to be, but is it decent now?
Yeah, from what so this is my first time playing here. And so from what all the other guys who have played here in previous years, they said that they did renovate like the visiting locker room, so it's a little bit bigger. There's like a bigger cafeteria, actual training room, and the locker room itself is a little bit bigger. Other than that, I don't know how much more they've upgraded.
Well, they used to have a AAA team, and the reason that it was deemed not good enough for AAA, so that's why they've had to do some things. But the Nolan Ryan group, which owns Round Rock, where you'll soon be if you keep pitching like you are, they have a quarter of the team now, and so I think that they've
done some
renovations.
Are they still the Missions?
Yeah, they're still the Missions. Yeah,
still the Missions.
Yeah. All right. So you throw 6 no-hit innings. It's the minor league, so you're probably on a pitch count and all that. Did you ask to keep going?
No, because I understand the situation. Once we hit our pitch count limit, there's really nothing that we can do. Like they're looking at our future as a sense of they want to build us up the right way. They don't want to let us go too many, especially if we're not ready for it. So, especially like this being my 3rd year, like I get it. Like I pretty much know when I'm done pitch count wise. So
Yeah.
I would have loved to kept going, but I totally understand. And the guys that come in after me always shove anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So you tossed 6, then Ryan Lobus came in, and then I don't know if it was Hale's day to pitch or not, but it always helps to bring in a guy who can throw it through a brick wall.
Yeah.
To come in and finish things off. So I saw the video after the final out, and it seemed kind of subdued initially. Now it is a combined no-hitter, and you guys did end up allowing a run.
Yeah.
But did you guys were you guys are I guess were aware of it? Did you just not know how to react? What was going on?
I think we all kind of were just like, it's just a win. And then we did celebrate a little bit in the locker room afterwards because that was our pitching coach's first no-hitter in pro ball. So we did kind of give him a little bit of a celebration and congratulations.
Well, that's cool.
But
Yeah,
like on
absolutely.
the field, I think we all were kind of just on the same page. Like, let's just shake hands and enjoy the win.
All right. So it was your longest outing of the year. You've had some big strikeout games. John here is dealing with allergies.
Yeah,
so
sorry about
excuse
that.
all of his coughs.
No, it's all good.
It is springtime in Texas, so I guess we're all feeling it a little bit. But what has been working for you so far to start the season?
I think I've really done a good job of being able to throw all 4 of my pitches for strikes and be able to expand a little bit into strike counts. Also, getting ahead in the count is huge for me. So I think those 3 things combined have really allowed me to just kind of cruise through some innings, some quality innings. So
last year, you pitched it at 2 levels or 3 levels, excuse me, 3 levels. You're a big strikeout guy, low walk guy. Is there a big difference? Is it how much harder is it to pitch to AA hitters? Do you have to, like Mike Maddox always says, know where your outs are? Do you need to navigate around some guys? How's the pitching approach, I guess, change at this level?
I think I first kind of noticed it last year when I had my spot start in AA early on in the year.
Early on, right?
Yeah. The team that I spot started against ended up winning the Texas League last year, and so they were a solid team. And I think the first thing I noticed is like, even though like I could get ahead in the count, like they would foul off a bunch of pitches in 2 strikeouts. Like their approaches are a lot better. And so just from my end, I knew that I needed to have better 2-strike pitches. Like I couldn't get away with those 2-strike pitches that I could get away with at Down East.
Yeah.
And so getting to experience it at the end of the year last year and then coming into this year, I definitely knew like in 2-strike counts, like the pitch has to be, if you want the strikeout, the pitch has to be the right pitch in the right spot.
Okay. Gotcha. So you were in big league camp, and unfortunately your back flared up on you. But nevertheless, what was the experience like at big league camp?
Very surreal to be able to, watch guys like Evo, DeGrom, Cody Bradford is a guy that I've talked to as well. Those guys definitely, have some good insight to give. And then also being around Mike Maddox, he's a great pitching coach. Very, I don't even know how else to say. He's a good pitching coach, has some good insight all the time.
Yeah. He's you know, with the hitting coach change at the big league, they've it's kind of talked about how like he's like the guy who instills the confidence and the guy who makes suggestions and things like that. But there are other guys like who, Jordan Teagues, who's now the bullpen coach, Jordan real well. There's a whole team of guys, it seems like, but what did you, or were there any tips that you were able to take away from Mike in your limited exposure to him?
Yeah, he definitely kind of told me to just keep things pretty simple. I think while I was in camp, especially like in the bullpens I was throwing, I was trying to do a little bit too much. And so he was really just trying to get me to keep things simple and just trust the stuff that I have.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's the old keep it simple, stupid routine. That works.
Yeah.
Did some pretty good things for his brother.
That adheres to a lot of life.
Yeah.
Just keep it simple, dumb.
Yeah.
So this back thing, was it out of nowhere? Is it something you dealt with in the past? And do you have like a routine for it now, a maintenance thing?
Yeah, definitely have a routine going right now. We don't need to go down another 2 weeks for it in season. So got a pretty solid routine going to keep the pain at bay. I have dealt with it previously before pro ball.
Yeah.
It was a little bit different in spring, but it was, kind of a weird flare up nonetheless. But we handled it and we're back on track now.
I mean, you're a big guy. You're 6'5".
Yeah.
So I don't know if I don't know if taller guys deal with back issues more or not, but
The short, fat guys can deal with them too. That's what I know.
well, if you keep your midsection small, you're going to be in good shape.
That was a direct shot at me.
I do too. Hey, of the three of us here, I'm the one who's had back surgery.
That's true.
Right? So it's not.
And I'm losing weight. I have lost some weight, so I'm on my way.
Yeah. But, all right. So the guys in the rotation with you, we all know them, and they're all good dudes. Seems like there's you always hear about the chemistry thing and moving up with guys throughout the system. So what's it like on a day-to-day? Do you guys watch each other's bullpens? Do you go out to eat together, play cards together? What's it like with those fellas?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a staff, we kind of watch each other throw, talk to each other constantly about throwing, especially in the game, right? Like when one of us is throwing, I feel like we're all kind of in the dugout chatting together, looking at the TrackMan, seeing what pitch, like how the pitches are moving, what pitches he's throwing in what count, and kind of just talking about it. And we also talk to our pitching coach as well about it. He loves to talk about ball during the game. So
you have the TrackMan information just right there, huh? Does that ever become a distraction for you? Like if you're pitching in the game, does that kind of complicate the keep it simple thing?
Not at all.
Okay.
It's just really there.
Okay. You're not looking, how's my spin rate on my slider or anything like that?
No, when I'm throwing, that's the last thing I'm looking at.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Had you worked with Julio Valdez before?
I have.
What is he like? I mean, because he's new to the staff, so I haven't met him. I've seen him in spring training, but I haven't had a chance to talk to him.
Yeah, I got to work with him. He was our pitching coach in 23 at Down East, and then he was the pitching coach in Hickory last year. So I've kind of come up with him as my pitching coach through the organization, and he's great. He also likes to keep things pretty simple for me at least, which I like. Like I don't like too much tweaking here and there. Like I just kind of like. So he's kind of there to just kind of get me to reset and like get back to who I am. Like if I am doing too much.
Okay. All right. Well, sounds like things are going great.
2.45 ERA.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Lots of strikeouts, part of a no-hitter, as we said again. Did we mention I mentioned the guys, right? Him, then Lobus, then
Hales.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Now it's time for John to ask some questions. One more I did want to ask though. How you like pitching so close to home?
I love it. I mean, I'm very fortunate that I get to live at home. so I see my family pretty much every day when we're at home, and they get to come to the games. So it's very awesome to basically be back at home, kind of like I was when I was in high school.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you were living at home or not, or if you were, had your own place closer to the field, but you're not that far away, are you?
No, I live about 25 minutes from the field, so just a small commute every day.
Yeah,
but it's worth it to live at home.
Free rent.
100% free rent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Free rent. Mom and dad's cooking. Shoot.
Man, I got two boys that take total advantage of that, man. One of them's home from school right now, raiding my fridge. He's home from college, and the other one's heading out. So I don't blame you for that. Okay, last time you were on here, we talked a lot about your life growing up, where you went to school, getting drafted. We did all that fun stuff. Now I just found some fun things we're going to talk about on here. Now you guys, it's strange. Now you guys don't get a lot of days off. Look, minor leaguers' day off are Mondays, and I'm talking about the whole team gets the day off. Now the way that y'all, usually you're traveling, if y'all are traveling anywhere, but if you're not traveling and say you're at home or for 2 weeks or whatever, what's something you like to do when you get a full day off? What's something you like to do?
Well, I used to go golf on my off days. But with the back flare up, I don't want to risk it popping back up. So I haven't gone golfing yet. So now I just kind of, I have a dog at home, so I'll just kind of hang out with her. If I need to go into the field to throw, like I'll take her with me, take her to the field and let her run around the outfield.
What kind of dog?
Play fetch with her. She's a golden retriever.
I got two.
Yeah, they're the best.
They're the best, man. They're the best. And then right now I've got three because my daughter has gone out of town for a trip and she's got one. So I've got the grand dog and they're just running around destroying everything.
Sounds like a fun time over there.
Do what now?
I said it sounds like a fun time at your place.
It's a lot. We've got a pool back there, and although we love it, they like to swim. We don't want them getting in it right now, coming in the house and shaking. And she's the culprit. She's here and she's like, there's a pool. And so she's jumping in and coming in and shaking, and it's not making my wife very happy.
No, Frisco has a dog, right?
Yeah, Brooks. He's also a golden retriever.
Right, yeah. Brooks. So do Brooks and your dog, what's her name?
My dog's name is Kirby.
Do they play? Have they met?
They haven't met yet. I don't know if Brooks is ever really there on the off day, and I'm not going to bring my dog in on a game day. So,
on a game day, yeah.
What about Bark in the Park night? I thought they just had Bark in the
Park.
But
what's he going to do? He can't have her in the dugout.
Parents are there, you know.
Oh, that's true. I guess if your parents were there.
Well, I've tried to tell them to bring her. I've tried to tell my parents to bring her for Bark in the Park, but they're like, oh, we don't want her to be like overstimulated around all the other dogs because she loves other dogs. So.
Oh, sure. Mine would be. Mine are crazy. They would. I can't bring my dogs to Bark in the Park. I've got one that could, but the other one's like, no, he likes to go around and let everybody know he's the boss until there's a big dog in his face, and then he wimps out. That's the way he is.
Well, yeah.
Hey, so let's talk about a few of your teammates. Some fun questions about your teammates we like to talk about. So let me ask you this. If you were in a back alley fight and it's going to throw down, who's the guy on the team that you're like, that's the one guy I want standing next to me because I feel like he could help me?
Oh, back alley fight.
Or front alley fight.
Or front.
Any alley.
Honestly, I'd probably take Alejandro Zuna. I feel like he's he could be a sneaky good fighter. I feel like he's a sneaky good fighter. You know, he's a great athlete, and I feel like he could definitely hold his own against anybody for sure.
If you guys kind of come up each level together, because I got a feeling if things keep going the way they are, you'll probably both be going to the next level together.
He was in Hickory when I got to Hickory last year, and then he hit for the cycle like the second day I was there, and then went to Frisco. So we were only teammates for like 2 days in Hickory last year, and then obviously he was here when I got here last year.
Yeah, he's not the tallest guy in the world.
No.
But he's like a fire hydrant. I mean, he's big, strong. Like his legs are.
He's a left-handed Blaine Krim who can play the outfield.
He's faster than Blaine.
Yeah.
He's a workhorse. He plays the game hard.
Yeah, he does. And that's the thing that in spring training, you'd ask, Tony Beasley or Bruce Bochy, hey, what do you like about him? Oh, he's a ball player. He plays the game hard, plays the game the right way. So
He does.
I always picture him if he'd grown up in Texas. He's that kid that it's a running back. He's everything baseball player, but he's the running back on a state championship team that's never going to go to college, but just runs through everybody and just one of those guys. Okay, who's the best dressed? Who's the guy that's always looking pretty sharp?
Oh,
you can vote for yourself.
It's definitely not me. I wear plain t-shirts and some pants. That's about it. The best dress, I mean, probably Caber Rodriguez. I feel like he always comes in. Him or Cam Colley, they always come in, pretty fashioned out, looking good.
Okay, I could see that with Cam.
Yeah,
Cam and
Cam did he just get married?
I don't think they're married yet.
He's getting engaged or something like that. Okay,
I believe he's engaged.
She's probably tending to him.
Okay, that's probably it. She probably dresses him. That's what it is.
Maybe.
When I look nice, it's because my wife stopped me at the door and went, wait, no. She's dressed me. Okay, so who's the funniest? Who's the guy that keeps everybody laughing, cracking everybody up?
Oh my goodness, Ryan Lobus. He is always cracking me up in some way, shape, or form.
Now, is he a prankster?
He's not really a prankster, but he's an absolute goofball.
Are there any pranksters in that clubhouse?
I don't know if we have too many. We tried to pull a prank on Ozuna the other day. It didn't work. So
what did you try to do?
He was taking a little pregame nap, and so we all tried to hide and then get him, wake him up and say, hey, the game is starting, even though we had another I think we had another hour and a half until the game started, but we tried to scare him, and he wasn't fazed at all.
Solid.
That would have been hysterical. Did y'all have a video on it? Trying to get a video?
Yeah, we tried to get a video of it, but since it didn't work out, I think that just went straight to the.
Yeah, he's got to act right. He's got to wake up and be stressed out. Okay. What is the weirdest food you've ever eaten? I'm coming out of left field.
I'm such a picky eater. I would not eat anything too crazy. Probably maybe calamari, I guess. I'm not a big seafood guy, so I tried it, and it's octopus. So I was kind of sketched about it already. But
I love calamari.
I do too. It's good. I like calamari too.
Okay, so what's the weirdest thing you've eaten, John?
Me personally, I mean, people think it's weird or whatever. I like raw oysters. That's not. I mean, I'm trying to think of is there a bug or anything? I remember CJ Nikowski talked about something he ate when he was playing in Korea or something.
Well, in Seattle, they used to sell fried crickets or something like that.
Okay.
So I think
man.
I had one of those. When Yu Darvish was with the Rangers, the Japanese media would take some of us out.
Yeah.
So I've had shark fin.
I've never had that. I would try it. Now I used to be picky like you, Cole, but I as I've gotten older, I've started trying more things, and so I'm not that way anymore. So I'll try just about anything.
And then I went out one time in Anaheim with them, and the dish it was raw hamburger with a raw egg, and they were shocked that I ate it. It was pretty good.
Not bad. I've eaten raw meat before.
What it's called, yakiniku? No,
you can't eat a lot of raw meat because it's not good. But I've eaten a bite of raw meat. It doesn't bother me. So
anyway, yeah. So I'll eat some weird stuff. I'm not ashamed.
Hey, so what do you guys do these bus trips? And some of them are longer than others. What do you guys do on these trips? Are you guys playing cards? Are you watching movies? Is there anything right now that it's your go-to right now? You got a show you're streaming right now or anything like that?
Usually on the days when we're traveling to a place, a lot of us are just kind of sleeping, resting on the bus. And on the way home on the Sunday, sometimes we'll play a game as a team, or sometimes guys will bring cards. We'll play some cards. If not, then usually everyone's sleeping or watching a show. I don't really have a show. I was watching Chernobyl. That's about the only show that I have been watching recently, to be honest.
Chernobyl.
What is that?
Well, that's where the nuclear disaster was. And
I remember that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a good
now
show. It's
is it
really
on
intriguing.
Netflix? What is it?
I believe it's on Hulu.
Okay. Chernobyl. I've heard of it, but
Hulu,
I don't know that one. Now, are you a movie guy, a rom-com guy, or anything like that?
Rom-coms.
Because who was the rom-com last week?
Dryling.
Dylan Dryling's a rom-com guy.
He admitted it.
Is he?
Yeah.
It's embarrassing, right?
I mean, I don't think so. I feel like I could get down with a good rom com every now and then. I definitely am more of a movie guy. I like the sci-fi or action movies for sure.
Cool. Those are cool.
Okay, so what's your favorite movie?
Probably Inception.
Inception. I haven't seen it.
I've
heard
heard
of it.
I know it's supposedly really good. I like some sci-fi because I grew up. Star Wars came out when I was 10 years old, so that was a huge deal for me. And then they kind of ruined it. Well, the second one was good too, but then they kind of ruined it later years. But so now, do you have? Okay, I'm going all random all over the place. What?
Inception. No,
You got a favorite? You got a favorite baseball or sports movie?
Bull Durham.
For sure.
Oh, that's the king.
Bull Durham.
See, we were last week when Dylan Dryling was on the show. I Googled top rom-coms ever, and they have Bull Durham as a rom-com.
It was.
And
really?
I guess it is, although I don't know that that's a romance between him and the gal.
Sarandon. Susan Sarandon.
It seemed like a 24-hour romance. But anyway.
Well, they ended up together at the end.
Yeah, okay.
You know, when he's
I
going to
guess
be
so,
a coach, whatever. All right, we're going to end it on a fun one. Kind of fun, whatever. Okay, and I'm going to preface this because I started trying to think who I would want at this dinner, and I didn't come up with it. But it was easy to come up with one, and I thought, okay, I got to take that off the table. It's if you could have dinner with anyone living or dead, who would it be and why? And leave out family, because my immediate thought was, because I immediately thought my dad, who passed away when I was 26, that would be something I'd love to go have a dinner with my dad. I want to take that off the table because that's so easy.
Well,
if you have
three, not just one, you can do
three people, dead or alive, that you don't know that are known names that you'd like to have a dinner with, who would it be?
Oh man, I mean, my first thought is definitely a pitcher of some sort in the big leagues. So I think Randy Johnson, right? I think getting to talk to him about mindset, his preparation, because he obviously is one of the best pitchers of all time.
Sure.
Left-handed as well. So it's going to know like what worked for him coming up and whatnot. And then, man, maybe like a former president like a George Washington or Abe Lincoln.
That would be cool.
Kind of know. Yeah,
Lincoln would be really cool.
And then as a third one,
I always think of a
probably
comedian or actor. Or...
Yeah, I was gonna think of like a celebrity of some sort, like maybe like let's say like the main actor in Inception is Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay, so that would be pretty
really,
interesting.
Hey, he could give you some good dating tips.
Yeah,
maybe so.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting because Lincoln was a pretty. I've read about Lincoln.
Yeah,
I mean, huge historical figure, obviously, but he was like a funny guy.
Yeah, supposedly
very clever and witty, and
Mm-hmm.
it's 1860s humor, but nevertheless, I think he would be a good one to. That's a pretty good one, and like Ulysses S. Grant would probably be on my list too.
Yeah,
drink some. It's another good one for sure.
And I don't know. I'd have to think about that one too.
And I'm not even talking about politics because you don't ever want to get into politics, but I've heard Bill Clinton was somebody that you'd want to hear some.
Also dating tips.
Yeah, it's dating tips or stories. He had to have some wild stories. That guy right there. That
I imagine so.
I'd like to get more trash on his wife. Not a big fan of Mrs. Clinton.
Okay. Anyway, we're gonna end it there. Listen, Cole, we can't thank you enough, man, for stopping and coming on. We thought we had somebody, but Cole, then immediately we started calling Zach afterwards. It's like, hey, can Cole jump on after a no-hitter? I mean, 6 innings, a no-hit ball, 7 Ks. You're killing it there at AA. I've meant to get out there a couple times. I just haven't had a chance because I've got kids
It's early. John.
I've
It's
got a
early.
kid graduating high school, and I am getting told to do so much stuff right now. But I'm in
Hey, that's a
Richardson,
big deal.
man. I
That's
know.
a big deal.
I know, but I'm in Richardson. I'm so close. I could be up there in 15 minutes, but the wife just points at stuff and says, do it. So, Cole, thank you so much. You got one more thing for me or anything?
No, just thanks again. Keep it up, and we'll see you soon enough.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
You got it. Thanks, Cole. I'll tag you when it's out. I'll let you know.
Perfect.
All right,
dude. Thanks.
Thank you.
Cole.
All right.
All right, let's finish up what we were talking about because we were at the big league level. So we were kind of done with it, but I did want to bring up one more thing before we go down in the bus leagues, and that is the new signing that was just announced.
Oh, yeah.
Of the new Shohei Ohtani coming out of Korea, and I'm gonna butcher this name, but I want to make sure I say it right. His name is Kim Sung Joon.
Yeah.
Kim Sung. Now you've talked to some brass.
If you've noticed me looking down during this episode,
You're still trying to figure out.
It's ongoing.
Yes. Now he is signed, or he's agreed to a deal.
He is not signed. He's agreed to a deal for just under 1.5 million. It's not 1.5, but it's close. He needs to sign. He needs to take a physical.
He is foregoing KBO. He is not going to play in Korea.
He's not going to go into the Korean draft. And, for a while there, and I think it still is kind of taboo, excuse me, at least in Japan, there was kind of a understanding that MLB teams would leave their amateur players alone. I think Tazawa, maybe Tanichi Tazawa might have been an exception. The Red Sox, when they were going crazy internationally, just signing all the Cubans and all that stuff, might have broached that or breached that. And so I don't know if that's the same situation in Korea. Now, Shin-Soo Choo is a guy who did not go into the KBO draft.
Right.
He signed with the Mariners, came over,
went up through their minor league system, and became
a long journey through the minor leagues. Don't forget, Shin-Soo Choo was in the minor leagues for a long time
before he established
himself. And they traded him, and anyway, but so it is an interesting deal. Of course, the sexy thing is the Korean Ohtani.
Yeah,
that's not fair.
No.
He has been signed.
He's a two-way player. That's what they're saying.
With the opportunity to continue to develop as a two-way player. Sounds like shortstop, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Anybody
that plays shortstop
they're athletic.
They're athletic.
So
they're going to play
to
up the middle somewhere. Right.
So, we'll see, and
does he throw 100 miles an hour? Or
I don't know. That's part of what
I've been trying
I've got one guy here and one guy in Venezuela I'm talking to. So I'm not sure how the texts get through in Venezuela.
Now wasn't there a U.S.
not Venezuela,
a U.S. high school pitcher,
Venezuela.
A high school pitcher in the United States who ended up foregoing the American draft and signed with the Japanese team?
That did happen. I don't remember his name. That was a couple of years ago.
Right, and I don't think he's done anything really yet, or maybe had some issues.
But anyway.
Arm issues, guys, not personal issues. I think he had some arms issues.
So anyway, it's interesting. He should be in the United States within a couple weeks.
Okay.
To begin his journey, and I'm assuming he's going to go to Arizona and immediately regret signing because it's going to be 150 degrees. But
although we don't know really Korean climate, maybe it's hot there too. I don't know.
Be very cold there as well. Like
sure,
the World Baseball Classic. I don't remember which player it was. It might have been Profar. Went over there to play for the Netherlands and didn't pack a coat. They got there and it was 2 degrees. And so he had to go buy a jacket. But anyway, so we'll see. It's an 18-year-old kid. So he's in high school. But it's a big expenditure, 1.4.
Yeah.
So that they must have had some money left over from their
Sasaki.
From their class, this latest international signing class. They do try to hold money back in case somebody pops up, and they can grab them. So anyway,
He could.
I'm definitely curious. I'm definitely interested.
Well, look, I think they wanted Roki Sasaki. They did, but when he didn't go, they could have gone right out and had a big international signing class. They held this money back. I wonder if they've known, hey, this is somebody we've had some good communication with this kid.
Yeah, I mean, these things don't just
yeah, it wasn't out of the blue.
Happen.
No,
it's not like, oh, hey, you want to sign?
Yeah, hey.
But yeah, the scouts who get the credit for that are Hamilton Wise, Johnny Klum.
Are they Pacific Rim guys?
No, Hamilton and Johnny are more Latin America. Andre is Pacific Rim, Korea specifically. And then the Rangers have their scouts in Japan,
right?
Joe Furukawa and Haji Watabe. But this is a big deal, and it's really interesting to see, and it'll be interesting to follow him as he progresses. But again, the complex league has started, and so I would anticipate that he goes there and works out with the team and maybe plays later in the season. I think there's some
he's
development stuff that needs to happen and get him, and there's the culture shock.
Sure.
He's got to have the cultural thing, and maybe his parent will come with him. Team will obviously have a translator for him. So, but yeah, it's kind of exciting, and and you wonder, will he be able to pull it off? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and it is interesting, and with a two-way player, kind of the Ohtani route too.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't want to expose that arm too much once he gets here, so maybe he just plays in the field. You play the position, you get out and play some shortstop, center field, get your ABs, see what's going there, while still looking at how many innings have you had on your arm. Let's do all that. I don't know. In America now, they do monitor. Even in high school, there's only so many innings you can pitch a week, and they've started to try to do that.
Yeah,
but
and it'll be interesting. There hasn't been like a great Korean pitcher.
No,
in
Chan-Ho Park
in the majors, and so you do kind of wonder, but Chan-Ho had played in Korea,
sure.
Whereas this guy, we're getting, the Rangers are getting him in early, and they will be his professional development. So
sure.
How will that work out? What difference would that make? But yeah, to get all of his bullets if he ends up pitching, and the Rangers have the opportunity to develop him. We'll see how that works out. The hitting wise, I think the hitters are starting to catch up a little bit more. It used to be you get a KBO hitter, and it was kind of dicey. They would have good moments, and they wouldn't. The Lee for the Giants is having a fantastic season.
Yeah.
Kim
has not been bad
with the Rays, and he's working out. He had the shoulder injury. I think it was a shoulder and an injury that has delayed his season, but he's doing full workouts. But not a lot of updates on him.
Right.
But he'll be in the major soon, and he was a heck of a player for the Padres.
Right. Yeah, he was good. He was, but you're right. Like he came over, immediately made the big league team with the Padres when he was signed, and at first just took a little bit to get rolling.
Yeah,
it's different pitching. He's never faced any pitching like that, but he obviously had talent, and you could see it. And yeah, Lee's having a great year coming over. So it is intriguing. It's very intriguing, especially since they're calling him Ohtani, which is not fair, but he must be a good two-way player.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys that you see today were somewhat two-way players. You see a lot of guys.
Sure. Bobby Wood Jr. was a two-way player.
Sure.
He was the starting shortstop for Colorado Heritage, and he came in and closed games.
Absolutely. There was a guy that did.
They're all talented.
There was Duncanville won state championship. The last time they won state championship in baseball, there was a guy named Todd Ritchie who ended up.
Sure.
He was their ace on their staff. Their best position player was a guy named Steve Gibraltar, who ended up playing with Cincinnati Reds a little bit, and doing that. Well, their state championship game, Steve Gibraltar came in to close out the last couple of games, and Todd Ritchie, who went from pitching, stayed in as the DH and hit a walk-off home run.
There you go.
So there you go. So that a lot of these guys, you can't tell me Corey Seager won the best player on his high school team and probably didn't throw a little bit.
Okay, Joey Gallo, all right?
Yes, who's
Yeah,
now pitching. He was a pitcher.
all kinds of guys. I mean, we're anyway, but
Yep.
yeah, I don't even know how, what his velocity is like, this Kim Sung Jun. Sure, we'll know soon enough.
There's one video, and I'm not going to post it because I don't know that it's him because everything's Korean, but this kid was throwing 100 miles an hour. I think it was him.
Okay.
He was throwing 100 miles an hour, but it may not be him. And I can't read any of the writing, and the translation didn't say his name. So I'm not going to say that because what if I'm wrong? And that's not fair to put that. Maybe this is a kid that throws low to mid 90s, but he's apparently a good pitcher. In fact, he could have been scouted each way, signed as a pro either way.
Yeah.
But they're going to give him the time. Okay, guys.
Oh, wait, we didn't mention Evan Carter. Evan Carter's back on the team, guys. And
Yes.
that was the
move, the corresponding move with Leote. Yeah. Cole jumped in real quick. We knew what time he was coming, and we were in the middle of talking when all of a sudden he popped in. So
it was all that mouse talk that really slowed us down here. But that's all right.
And
We
lobster
like mouse talk and lobster.
mouse and lobster talk. But no, yes, and has looked good. Even against the left, got a good hit against the left the other night. He flared one out the other night too. Look, I'm not saying Evan Carter's back because there's no man. We're talking 3 games, but he certainly looks comfortable to play.
Yeah, he looks healthy. He is skinny though. Gosh, he's skinny.
He's always skinny though.
They gotta. If he's able to keep weight on, that will help as long as it's not a beer belly.
No, they need to push him up to the table every day and
they need to strengthen the core. Back injuries, you got to have a lot of core strength.
Sure.
To withstand the wear and tear, to be an everyday player, he's got to be stronger. He just does. So,
hey, is Jock using that bat now?
The torpedo bat, yeah, apparently. I
don't know. I'm just glad to see Jock.
There've been some results.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Jock be Jock. It's starting to look a little bit like Jock again. All right, guys, listen. Big thanks to Kohl Drake there for joining us, but we're going to go down in the bus leagues now and recap the bus leagues. There's no minor league recap today, and we'll do that right after this. All right, big thanks to Kohl Drake for joining us. We are going to go down in the bus leagues, recap every team. We're going to go from AAA Round Rock all the way down to Low A Hickory.
We got to go to the Complex League.
Arizona?
Yeah, they started.
They started. Okay. And I did not write that down, so we'll look at that too and talk about them last. We're going to start out at AAA Round Rock Express, who beat El Paso last night 5-4. Tonight, they are playing at El Paso at 7:35 again tonight. They have not named a starter yet. They are 18-18. They're in second place in the Pacific Coast League. They're 4-6 in their last 10, and they have won one game. We just announced that. They beat them last night. So, we need to talk about there. Duran, who's now in the big leagues again. But
right. So Jake Berger is down there. He finally played. That's fine. It wasn't like he was sulking or anything. Big leaguers or all players when on option have 72 hours to report, and
he probably had a lot of family stuff to handle.
Was out of town. He's got a family, and so he's up and playing and. The Rangers think this is just going to be a real short-term deal.
Yeah, just kind of
go down there, figure himself out again, and come right back. They're saying he'll be there 10 days. All right.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. But I think I said on the last show, because Tucker Barnhart had been called up to keep an eye on Cooper Johnson, who was at Frisco. Well,
and he went up.
Now he's at Round Rock.
Yep.
So that's.
Because
be interesting because Higashioka is going to be ready, I think, tomorrow. I think he.
And then and Barnhart has no options,
right?
So he'll have to clear waivers before he can even. And he didn't even have to take his.
I would anticipate that he would get claimed. I really think he would.
There's just some teams that need.
He's a handy guy to have around because he's a
great tool. If this was September, it'd be perfect.
Former Gold Glove winner.
Yeah.
He is an offensive liability, though he was on base 4 times yesterday. But
hey, let me tell you what, though, those guys are good. And he's a guy that if he's around your organization could be that 26th man or that extra few guys in September that when you everybody usually tries to throw one more catcher on there just to have so you can have that spare catcher on there. Right. But he'll either get claimed if he clears, he can elect free agency. He doesn't have to come back to Round Rock. He may see opportunities out there. So that's obviously going to open up a spot for even, but they're sitting right now, they're sitting at 39, right? They don't even have
39. They got a spot open. But I mean, they have three pitchers who are going to
come off that
60.
Yeah.
And will need to go on.
So there's no rush to put someone on that 40 man.
Yeah. One other note, Cody Freeman, our good friend,
he's doing well.
He's hitting the ball really, really well. He's been over 300 in his first year at Round Rock. And so that's good. I think it's worth noting though, that, Cody Freeman played shortstop the other day.
Really?
So
he's always been playing third base. And
he's played 5 games at shortstop. So look, if you're going to be a utility man in the major leagues,
you got to play shortstop.
Labeling him as a utility man, but he moves around. He plays a lot of positions. You got to be able to play shortstop.
Absolutely.
And if he can play shortstop, boy, that puts him in a pretty good spot. Not on the 40 man, but
right.
Like we said, they've got an opening now. He's 108 at bats into the season, so he needs to
keep it up, get
some more work, and keep all of that up. But he's making himself an option.
Yep, that's wild. They're playing him at shortstop. That is. Hey, maybe that foresees the future. If someone like Duran were not to stay with this club,
he can catch.
Yes, he can. Didn't he come in as he did that for a year or two? Okay, let's go down. You ready to go down to AA?
Yep.
Let's go down to the AA. Frisco Rough Riders. They beat San Antonio 12-6. They are at San Antonio tonight at 7:05. Ben Anderson is going to be on the bump tonight. They are in first place. They're 19-11. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They've won their last 2, and one of those 6 that they've won in the last 10 was a no-hitter.
Yeah, I think we just talked to somebody.
We just did talk about that. This team right here has got some players. I mean,
Pretty
Walcott's holding his own. I mean, he's not tearing the league up, but you're starting. He's already grown. I saw Baseball America's moved him up.
Yeah.
To number 8 in top 100.
Those guys graduate to the majors. The best thing about him is his 362 on base percentage.
Yep.
He's drawing walks.
Yep.
His strikeouts have gone up a little bit here in the last week. That happens. He's still only 19. So, young hitters are going to strike out. But it's pretty encouraging to see what he's doing. Needs a little slug, but that's fine. No pressure here. Alejandro, of course, when the Rangers opened up that 40-man spot with the Taveras move, some people thought that Osuna might get called up, and I was told that he was a consideration. I think the Rangers needed to make sure Evan Carter, make sure the back was okay. He had a previously scheduled checkup with the back specialist. So I think once they got the high sign on that, then they went ahead and made their decision that Evan was the choice. So I would suspect that Alejandro gets moved up, maybe not imminently. I think a half season of AA to go with what he did last year would serve him well.
Sure.
He'll be at AAA though before the year ends. He may be in the majors. Honestly, he may be in the majors depending on what happens and if somebody gets hurt or whatnot. But
it's an interesting question I have for you on there.
Okay.
Don't you feel like Walcott still next year is he's still 2 years away? Yeah. Don't get me wrong. If he just destroys, all of a sudden he just becomes this unbelievable monster where he's hitting home runs, he's walking, still doing what he's doing, and forces his way. Yes, but I still think he doesn't have to be on the 40 man for a couple of years. And I think that at that young age, you'd have to be someone like Fernando Tatis Jr. It's so obvious you are above what you're at. And he's doing well at AA. Don't get me wrong. You can see the talent and he's there, but there are people that think next year he's going to open up in the outfield. And I'm like, I don't think so.
Well, it'll be interesting to watch. If he doesn't debut till late next season, he's still debuting at age 20.
Sure.
Who does that? Now, all right. This came up yesterday on the post-game show. Somebody said, well, I think probably trade Adolis this year at the deadline. And it's not a bad thought.
He's got a lot of money.
Well, he's making 9.5, 9.25 this year. But like what what do you do with him next year? If he has another 2024 like season,
Sure.
where it's aggravating and frustrating, and do you want to pay him what he's going to make in arbitration?
Yeah.
So, would he be a non-tender candidate?
Didn't he sign a 2-year deal though?
Well, last year was the first year.
Okay. All right.
So he's got one more year of arbitration left.
So this is it.
Next year would be it.
Yeah. Okay.
So what would you want to pay that player? And is he worth that player, worth that price? And do you have is there more value somewhere in the system? Now, Walcott, there is no need to rush him because they have a shortstop who's pretty good.
I've heard of him.
Yeah. So it's not like they're dying for a shortstop here.
No.
They're not. But there might be a need in right field. So, if they think he's the guy,
If he's ready to
he needs to play right field. He needs to start playing right field.
right.
Or Corey Seager needs to start playing first base or somewhere else, whatever.
Right.
I think that it's not
Corey and moving off shortstop next year.
I don't think so. It's not out of the blue. It wouldn't be out of the blue if Walcott were to open season on next year in the majors
As the starting right field.
But
he would be an everyday
he has
player.
to start playing right field.
Yeah, he would be, and it would only be as an everyday player. They're not going to bring him up here
No.
to say, "Hey, you're going to face lefties."
Right.
You know what I mean?
No.
That's not the guy you do.
And
That
then
with.
you have Osuna, who is a
Absolutely.
nice player who can play everywhere. So there's really, it's set up so that he doesn't need to be rushed.
Sure.
Walcott.
All right.
All
Let's go down. All right, we're going to go down to High A, the Hub City Spartan Burgers.
Yep.
Lost to Greensboro last night 5-2. They host Greensboro again tonight at 6:05. David Davalillo.
Yeah.
That's
he's
the guy.
man.
He is the man right now. He has had an unbelievable season. Look, they're in first place. They're 17-13. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They did lose last night.
Yeah.
But Davalillo, that's a stop down. I always try to keep up with what's going on when he's on the mound.
Yeah, they've all kind of cooled off a little bit offensively. Our guy Dylan Dreiling is in a little bit of a slump this week. Keith Jones, an advanced guy.
But Jason Morabello just got activated, and he started out.
He's got the look, man. He looks like a ball player. Had the shoulder injury that he was coming off of to start last season. Was up and down at Hickory, a little inconsistent. So kind of need to track him and see how that turns out. But yeah, the pitching is pretty exciting there when you can look at David Davalillo, who's just been so good and looks like he's going to be somebody who could quickly move to Frisco, maybe all-star break situation.
Yep.
Aiden Curry continues to pitch pretty well.
Yeah, he had a good outing this week.
Yeah. So that's 2 in a row for him. So that's good. Leandro Lopez is a guy to look at too.
Yeah.
He had a nice outing the other night.
Yeah, he came in. He was one of my players of the game the other night.
Yeah.
What is it he did the other night? Was he a starter? Is he a starter?
Yeah. He's doing well. And I don't know if I mentioned this on the show last week, but our guy Paul Bonzani.
Yeah, he got hurt, right?
Yeah, but it's not a Tommy John situation. So
because it was elbow.
He'll be rehabbing. And it looks like he's going to avoid surgery. And then Colton Curtis is another guy who's interesting, just because of his facial hair. So he's an interesting guy. I'm sure
he's another name
that is like that as a character. So we might need to try to get him on.
Sure.
Just so we could look at that facial hair.
All right, let's go to Hickory.
Okay.
Low A, Hickory Crawdads. They beat Augusta last night 3-2. They are at Augusta again tonight at 6:05. And Mason Molina's on the mound.
There you go.
That's the one. He was part of the trade for
Grant Anderson
trade. Listen, they're in fourth place down there. They're 14-16. They've lost. They're 3-7 in their last 10, and of course they won last night. But Molina's been on my little weekly or daily recap. He's been on there a couple times.
Yeah, well, he's an advanced. He pitched at Arkansas. He pitched in college, so he's
a little older. He's like 22, 23, right down there.
Seems like he might be primed for a bump.
Yes,
when that situation arises. Of course, he can't be moved up until somebody else is moved up. And we just talked about David Davalillo. So
right,
the chain reaction, if you will. Caden Scarborough is
Another name, yeah.
the hot name down there. But I keep and we've mentioned Brock Porter and
Again,
had
another scoreless out in the other night.
Still working as a reliever, but that's intentional. The plan remains for him to be a starter, but he
took the choice.
Reacclimated with being on the mound and making sure everything's working and is repeatable and all that stuff.
So they gave him a choice, right?
They gave him the choice, and he chose
to come out of the bullpen. Yeah, to pitch more per week. But he's getting multiple innings every time.
Yeah, so I think that means he was a smart kid.
Yeah, look, he'd rather
and listen to the way he talks, and
he don't want to wait 6 days to face batters.
He's kind of taken a smart approach here, I think. Jabril Easley, who was part of a combined no hitter for Hickory early in the season.
Yeah.
He's doing well.
He was a free agent signing, right? He didn't
a minor league free agent. That's right. Or
didn't get drafted.
Non-drafted free agent. Yeah. Went to Kansas, pitched in Kansas at the University of Kansas. So another advanced guy who should be having success, and by golly, he is.
Okay, now you brought up that I didn't know, the Arizona Complex League.
Yeah, they've only played, the Rangers team's only played 3 games. Okay.
Well, then I don't even know. So how are they doing?
They're 2-1. This team is loaded with a lot of young international talent.
Okay.
Right? Paulino Santana.
He's over. Okay.
Yolfran Castillo, who Baseball America loves. Clymer Lemos, who had so much power last year. He's there. And then, you'll see some of the young draft picks, names that but Curly Martha, another international guy who's playing here in Arizona. It's really early. They're going to be playing.
They play to the end of the summer, right?
Yeah. And the season ends before the Dominican Summer League season ends, which makes it hard for teams to get the kids who are playing really well in the Dominican to the States to give them a little experience. So,
and get them acclimated, get them over here.
So that's kind of that there are people who are not happy about that. It started last year.
Yeah.
Now at the same time, it permits this team to not have to rush, or
Sure.
permits all teams to not have to rush with their guys. But still, they're like Castillo. They decided, all right, we got to get them up last year, and they did. But so yeah, you'll see Teodo is pitching there as he comes back from his little shoulder fatigue thing. He's got one outing there. Ty Block, who the Rangers just signed, he's got one outing. He just wiped these guys out. I mean, as they should. This is like a grown ass man who playing these teenagers, and he just absolutely wiped them out. So, but yeah, it's so early that not everybody's even pitched yet.
Yeah.
So,
anybody stand out at the plate? But they're playing a lot of different.
Lemos has had 3 really nice games.
Okay.
And Santana, same thing. He's 3 good games, but
these are youngsters.
No need to.
This more than anything,
too high or too low, because again, I think the leader has 12 at bats on the team.
Okay. So the moral of this story, and I need to start on my daily recap. I'll start trying to keep up with some of that too. But the moral of this story is these kids are in the United States. Some of these kids, not the ones just drafted, that are come already out of the United States, but some of these kids need to be over here playing ball in the United States. It's going to be hot, sure, but the food, everything else, get over here and start learning the streets of the United States and do that, because it is different. I'm sorry. If you've ever traveled to Latin America, Mexico, for those that go to Mexico, look at the streets of Mexico. It's all different there than it is here. And they got to come here and get acclimated here. They just do.
Yeah. Well, and some of them were at spring training,
Yes.
So they've been here, and so that, now they're playing. And Devin Fitzgerald, another guy to mention, he was the Rangers 5th rounder last year, an infielder from Stoneman High, where they had the school shooting, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago.
Okay.
They're like a baseball powerhouse.
Is that the one in Florida?
Yeah, in Florida.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's playing with that group. And it's interesting because he hyphenates Fitz and Gerald.
Really?
Yeah. So
Huh,
anyway,
that's interesting.
yeah, there you go.
All right, I think we wound it down. DSL, when do they start?
They're at least a month away.
Okay. All right. It's fun to keep up with that too. But all right, guys, that's it for this one. We got another one in the can. This will be out for y'all watching it. It just came out today. We did it this morning. Rangers are in Detroit. They start tonight. One of the most underrated signings of the year is on the mound, Corbin.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, man. How you not look at that and think it's a home run, even if he doesn't do anything else when someone else comes in? This guy's been a home run.
Yeah, and he's a good dude.
And a great dude. Yep. Okay, guys, that's it for this one. Until next week, we'll be back again. Minor league recap will still be going on, but until Jeff and I are here next week, see you at the yard.